Today, we're tackling something that, well, our sources are calling a secret superpower for English learners.
Hmm.
Reading. Not just homework, but a genuinely powerful tool for getting good fast.
Right.
And we're focusing this deep dive specifically on beginners, A1 level folks who might feel a bit lost or maybe intimidated by all the usual advice.
Yeah, it's a great focus.
Hmm.
Because honestly, most people immediately jump to speaking practice or listening skills,
Yeah,
which are important, obviously.
sure.
But reading,
Yeah.
reading offers this calmer way in. It's super effective. You can do it anywhere, anytime, no pressure.
Exactly. It's like learning in stealth mode.
Kind of, yeah. Your brain is just absorbing stuff in the background while you're hopefully enjoying a story or an article.
Okay, so that's our mission today. We're digging into the research, the sources, to figure out why reading is so powerful, especially early on. What should absolute beginners actually pick up? And maybe most importantly, how should they read to learn the most without getting totally discouraged?
Sounds like a plan. Let's get into those hidden benefits first. Why reading is, well, foundational. So the big idea here, the thing that makes reading so effective, is what the sources call passive learning.
Passive learning. Okay.
It basically means your brain starts figuring out the rules of English just by seeing them used correctly over and over again in context.
Uh-huh.
So you're not like memorizing grammar charts or verb tables, not directly anyway.
It's like your brain's doing the heavy lifting subconsciously. Osmosis for language, maybe?
That's a good way to put it. And the first, most obvious benefit you notice is vocabulary, getting new words in context.
Ah, yes. This is huge, isn't it? Because seeing a word on a flashcard is one thing,
Totally different.
but seeing it in a sentence, seeing how it fits with other words,
Yeah,
that's where the real learning happens.
absolutely. Context is everything. The
Yes.
sources really emphasize this. When you see a word alone, it's just a definition,
Mm,
abstract. But in a sentence, the words around it, the whole situation, they give you clues about its use, its feeling, even which words it likes to hang out with, its collocations.
that difference between just knowing the meaning and knowing how to use it, that's massive for English learners, especially with idioms and stuff. We talked about apple.
Perfect example. If you only know apple is a fruit and eye is, well, an eye,
Ah, yeah.
then she's the apple of my eye. Makes zero sense if you look it up literally.
Right, you'd be totally confused.
So if you read it in a story, maybe about someone talking about their grandchild,
Hmm.
you get it instantly. You feel the meaning special, cherished, loved, no dictionary needed.
The story provides the meaning, and that works for tricky stuff like phrasal verbs too, right? Like put up with.
Exactly. Looking up put won't help much. But seeing he put up with the noise in a story about bad neighbors, you immediately understand it means tolerate. The context clarifies it.
You see the words doing something in a situation you can remember.
Yes. And our brains are wired for stories, for connections, not just random lists. Learning 50 words by reading them in context, you'll remember those way better than drilling 50 words off a list for an hour. It just sticks.
Okay, so vocabulary gets a huge boost, and that momentum then feeds into learning grammar and sentence structure passively.
That's the really compelling part, I think. You're just reading, enjoying it, and your brain is quietly figuring out the rules.
How does that actually work? Is it just seeing it loads of times?
Pretty much. It's the power of repetition and exposure. When you read simple stuff, you see thousands of correct sentences. You see how verbs change for he or she, how questions are formed, how sentences are built. Subconsciously, mostly.
So like the has-on verbs for he, she, it, an A1 learner might struggle with that rule.
Right.
But if they read a simple story where Sarah walks, Sarah eats, Sarah talks, they see it used correctly maybe 50 times.
Exactly. They're not chanting the rule, as is for third person singular present simple. They're just seeing it work again and again in a way that makes sense within the story. The brain notices the pattern.
It starts to feel natural, or rather the wrong way starts to feel wrong.
Precisely. You develop an intuition. It's like building a mental map of how English sentences should look and sound.
A map. I like that.
Yeah, and it's crucial for understanding sentence structure. English is pretty fixed, subject, verb, object. Reading drills that in. And you start to see how longer bits connect where adjectives fit, how clauses link up. That's vital for when you start trying to write or speak more complex sentences yourself.
Okay, so that mental map also helps with spelling, which is, let's be honest, a nightmare in English sometimes.
It really is. English spelling can be chaotic. All those silent letters, different ways to spell the same sound. Though, through. Tough. Ugh.
Tell me about it. Even native speakers get tripped up.
Absolutely. But reading helps immensely. Your eyes just get used to seeing words spelled correctly. Your brain takes a kind of visual snapshot. Think of knife.
Knife. Silent K, silent E.
Right. Your brain doesn't just remember the sound, it remembers the shape of the word, the visual pattern, including those silent letters, because it's seen it written down correctly so many times.
So when you go to write knife, your brain pulls up that picture, Knife.
Exactly. It bypasses trying to sound it out phonetically, which often doesn't work well in English. It's visual recognition supporting spelling accuracy, a huge shortcut.
Okay, so beyond the nuts and bolts of words and grammar, reading also exposes learners to different styles of English.
This is really important for, like, real-world readiness.
How so?
Well, the English in a children's story is very different from the English in a news report, right? Or an email, or even a tweet.
Very different. Simple sentences versus maybe more formal language, specific jargon.
Exactly. Reading different kinds of text, stories, news, blogs, instructions, whatever gets you used to these different registers. It shows you that English isn't just one thing you learn from a textbook. It adapts.
So you're better prepared for whatever English you actually encounter out there.
Yeah, it builds flexibility. You learn the difference between, say, recipe English, mix the flour, and historical description English, the battle commenced. Seeing that variety is key.
Now here's the bit that surprised me in the sources. This link between silent reading and pronunciation. How on earth does reading quietly help you speak better?
It sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? But it's about something called subvocalization.
Subvocalization.
Yeah, it's basically sounding out words in your head as you read.
Yeah.
Most people do it, even native speakers, at least some of the time. Your brain activates the speech motor areas, even if you're not making any actual sound.
Wow, so even reading silently, my brain is connecting the letters I see to the sounds they make?
It's building that bridge, strengthening the connection between the written form and the spoken form.
Yeah.
Graphemes and phonemes.
Okay.
Even if your mental pronunciation isn't perfect at A1 level, that act of internally sounding it out reinforces the word's identity and links it to a potential sound.
Yeah.
It helps lock it in memory.
So it's laying the groundwork.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, of course, if you take the next step and actually read aloud, which we'll get to, the benefits for pronunciation become much more direct and amplified. But even silent reading helps build that crucial foundation.
Okay, those benefits are really clear. Passive learning, vocab, grammar, spelling, even pronunciation prep. But, and this is a big but for A1 learners, opening a regular book, like a bestseller novel, it can be terrifying. You hit 5, 10, 20 unknown words on the first page.
You just shut down. Yeah.
Exactly. It feels impossible,
Yeah.
frustrating. And that feeling kills motivation faster than anything.
That frustration is the absolute enemy. The sources couldn't be clearer to start with material where you already understand most of it.
Most of it. How much is most?
The research suggests you need to understand about 95% to 98% of the words for that passive learning magic to really work.
95 to 98%.
Yeah.
Wow.
If it's less than that, say only 80% or even 90%, you spend too much mental energy just trying to figure out individual words. Your brain can't focus on the flow, the context, the sentence patterns.
So struggling through difficult material is actually less effective for learning.
Counterintuitively, yes. It feels like hard work, but it's inefficient work. You need high comprehension to allow for smooth acquisition.
Okay, so for an A1 beginner needing that 95% plus, where's the absolute easiest place to start?
Children's books. Simple picture books.
Might feel a bit silly for an adult learner, maybe.
Maybe initially, but the design is perfect. They use super simple words, very short sentences, clear structures.
Right.
And the key thing, pictures. Lots of pictures.
Right, the pictures, they have like a cheat sheet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're a visual dictionary on every page. If the text says, the cat sat on the mat, and there's a picture of a cat on a mat, you understand, even if mat is a new word.
It carries the meaning, removes the stress.
Totally. Plus, children's books use tons of repetition. You'll see the same core words go see, big, happy, again and again. Perfect for drilling them into your memory without feeling like drilling.
Okay, children's books make a lot of sense. What's the next step up if those feel too simple, but a real novel is still too hard?
Graded readers. These are absolute gold for learners.
Explain what those are. I know the term, but maybe not everyone does.
They're books written or adapted specifically for language learners. They are carefully graded by level A1, A2, B1, etc., based on internationally recognized standards.
So they control the difficulty.
Precisely. An A1 graded reader will only use a very limited set of vocabulary, maybe the most common 500 or 750 English words, and they stick to simple grammar, mostly present tense, basic sentence structures.
So they're designed to hit that 95% comprehension mark for someone at that level.
Exactly. They let you successfully read a whole story, feel that sense of accomplishment, and pick up a few new words and structures along the way, but without the frustration. They manage the learning curve perfectly.
Where do people find these? Are they easy to get hold of?
Oh yeah, they're pretty common. Good bookstores usually have a language learning section with loads of them. Online retailers, obviously, have huge selections, often as ebooks too.
Ebooks could be handy for quick lookups, though maybe not too quick, based on what we'll discuss later.
Right, use with caution. And libraries sometimes have collections, or online language platforms might include graded stories. They're definitely out there.
Okay, so children's books, graded readers. What about people who just don't like the idea of a book? Maybe reading 50 or 100 pages feels like too much commitment.
That's a fair point. For them, short-form content is the way to go, especially for building that daily habit.
Like what kind of stuff?
Short stories online, maybe very simple news articles. Some websites do news for kids or news for learners, which is fantastic. Simple blog posts, anything short and manageable.
News for kids. Yeah, it's clever. Real topics, simple language.
Yeah. And this ties into the most important factor for sticking with it, motivation.
Yeah, enjoyment.
You have to read stuff you are actually interested in. If you force yourself to read boring texts, it'll always feel like a chore. You'll quit.
But if you love, I don't know, football.
Find simple match reports or player profiles in English. If you love cooking, find easy recipes online. If you're into space, find basic articles about planets.
So you link the learning to something you already enjoy.
Exactly. Reading becomes a way to engage with your hobby, not just a language task. That intrinsic motivation makes you want to understand, makes you push through the occasional tricky word. It flips the switch from chore to pleasure.
All right, this is crucial. We know why to read and what beginners should read. Now the how. How do you actually sit down and do it effectively? The biggest question is always, do I look up every single word I don't know?
And the answer, the really critical tip here, is almost always no. Absolutely do not look up every single word.
But that feels wrong. My instinct is, if I don't know it, I need to look it up right now. How else will I learn it?
I know the feeling. But stopping, constantly, grabbing the dictionary, typing into a translation app, it completely kills the process.
How so?
It breaks your flow, your concentration. Reading becomes slow, tedious, painful. You lose the thread of the story or the argument. And that constant stop-start is exhausting and leads straight to giving up. It defeats the purpose of passive learning through context.
Okay, so resist the urge. Tolerate a bit of not knowing.
Exactly. You need to practice guessing from context. It's a skill in itself.
How do you actually do that, though, if you just don't know the word?
Well, first, look at the sentence again. Is the word a noun, a verb, an adjective? The grammar often gives clues. If it says the dog was very blarg, blarg is probably describing the dog, right? An adjective.
Okay, yeah.
Then look at the wider context. What's happening? Is the situation happy, sad, dangerous? Do the other words give you a positive or negative feeling? Often, you can get the general idea without knowing the exact definition.
So you're aiming for understanding the main point, not every single nuance.
Precisely. Can you follow the story? Can you get the gist of the paragraph? If yes, keep going.
So when should you look a word up? Is there a guideline?
A good rule of thumb is only look up a word if you see it appearing again and again, or if it seems absolutely critical to understanding the main meaning of that sentence or paragraph and you just can't guess it.
So maybe 1 or 2 words per page, max.
Something like that. If you're needing to look up much more, the material is probably too hard. You need to find something easier. Go back to simpler graded readers or children's stuff.
That feels much more manageable. And what about those quick dictionary features on e-readers or apps? Still avoid them mostly.
Use them sparingly as a last resort. The main goal is to build that skill of guessing from context and keeping the reading flow smooth. That guessing skill is vital for real-life communication too.
Okay, so limit the lookups. The next big technique seems to be about frequency, consistency, the English muscle idea.
Yes, exactly. Think of it like exercise. Go to the gym for 5 hours once a month isn't as good as going for 20 minutes 3 times a week.
Right.
Same with reading. Reading for 2 hours solid one Saturday is much less effective than reading for just 10 or 15 minutes every day.
Why is that daily habit so much better, neurologically speaking?
It's about strengthening pathways in the brain and memory consolidation. Short, regular practice keeps those language connections active. Your brain processes stuff overnight. Doing it daily reinforces the learning consistently. A big gap lets things fade.
So 15 minutes a day beats 2 hours a week.
Absolutely. It builds a habit, it stops feeling like this huge daunting task and just becomes part of your routine, like brushing your teeth. It programs your brain gently but consistently.
Okay, that makes sense. And the final big technique, the one we touched on earlier, reading aloud, the sources called it a fantastic idea. Why is it so good?
It does several things at once. It's really efficient. First, obviously, pronunciation and rhythm. You're not just seeing words, you're hearing yourself say them. You practice the sounds, the stress on syllables, how words link together in English. It's direct speaking practice.
And it's low pressure, right? No one's listening, probably.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the second benefit. Private speaking practice. You can go slow, repeat difficult words or phrases, get the feel of them in your mouth without feeling self-conscious. Builds muscle memory for speech.
Okay, what else?
Third, it helps with focus. When you read silently, it's easy for your mind to drift off, right?
Guilty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reading aloud demands more attention. You have to track each word to say it. It keeps you anchored in the text.
Makes sense. And the fourth benefit?
Confidence building. This is huge for beginners. Just hearing your own voice, producing understandable English sentences,
Okay.
even if you're just reading, it's a massive psychological boost.
It proves you can do it.
Yes. It breaks down that fear of opening your mouth. And remember, the goal isn't perfect pronunciation right away. It's about practice, getting comfortable, improving over time. Consistency is the key. Hashtag tag outro.
Okay, this has been incredibly practical. We've gone from the why to the what to the how. Let's try and boil this down. If someone listening wants a clear roadmap, what are the absolute key takeaways, the 5 essential steps?
Let's summarize. It's a solid plan.
Okay, 1, start easy. Children's books, A1 graded readers. Aim for that 95% comprehension. Don't make it too hard.
Crucial first step.
2, choose topics you actually find interesting. Make it fun. Link it to your hobbies.
Motivation is key.
3, don't look up every word. Practice guessing from context. Only look up the really essential blockers, maybe 1 or 2 per page.
Resist the dictionary urge.
4, be consistent. Read a little bit every day. 10 or 15 minutes daily is way better than hours once a week. Build the habit.
The English muscle needs regular workouts.
And 5, if you can, read aloud sometimes. Boost pronunciation, focus, and that all-important confidence.
Fantastic technique.
So follow those 5 steps.
And reading really does become this complete package. It's relaxing, low stress, but it covers so much ground. Vocab, grammar, spelling, all absorbed passively. It builds that essential bridge from seeing English on the page to actually using it.
That bridge, that's the whole game at the start, isn't it? Connecting the look of the language to the sound and feel of it.
Absolutely.
Which brings us to our final thought for you, the listener, to chew on this week. If reading builds that bridge between structure and sound, what happens if you strengthen both ends simultaneously?
Ooh, interesting.
Think about it. Commit to your 15 minutes of daily reading, maybe reading aloud some days, then add just 5 extra minutes of focused listening, maybe the audio that comes with your graded reader, or a slow podcast on a topic you like.
So combining that visual input from reading with clear audio input.
Yeah. Could that consistent pairing of seeing the words and hearing them spoken clearly be an even faster way to solidify that connection, to really accelerate your journey towards understanding and speaking?
Reading shows you the map, listening gives you the directions. That's definitely something powerful to consider.
Something to think about. Keep reading, keep listening, keep learning, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.